Okay, well, this is going to be a Voice in the Wilderness again, Saturday, September 11th. I'm smoking my coffee and drinking my doob. And this one's not going to be about politics again. This one is about WWE wrestling and not in anything in general. Because I've just come back to it because it was just so terrible. And what Vince McMahon might find funny about this, if he ever heard it, probably never from me, but from other people, is that it's the AEW that brought me back to check out his product. And for me, I was a WWE guy, like right back to the 80s, like right from the beginning. And Big Time Wrestling in Detroit was the other one I grew up on, those two. And then AWA, we used to get it on a channel that used to come across UHF from, what was it, Minnesota or wherever they're from up there, the AWA. But yeah, there was a channel. I don't know if necessarily it was from the state of Minnesota or wherever they were located up there in the north. But I mean, we got it on a UHF channel. And if you went up north, like we used to, a cabin in Frankfort, Michigan, we could actually get it even better. So whenever we'd go up on vacation, I was like about 7 or 8, maybe 9 years old. And I'd be like, I want to spend all my time outside fishing with Dad and doing other shit. But when I knew the wrestling was on, that was it. You couldn't get me because I knew I could get it, clear there and it would look good. So anyways, I want to talk about Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Now, I was never a big fan of Brock Lesnar. There's just nothing there for me. I mean, people say he's a monster and he's this and that. Well, anybody can be a monster, but you need to have some kind of personality. So he has a personality that Paul Heyman basically does for him. Now, I'm not insulting Brock Lesnar because what I'm going to get to here is the one thing that Brock Lesnar wins on, or at least, makes me pay attention, is that when I look into his eyes, I see a man that has no trouble hurting people in real life I don't mean in real life, like if somebody were to hurt him, he'd be deadly. You can see that in his eyes. He's got that look. He's a predator. He's got a predator look. And so I guess that's why he's as respected as he is and everything. Anyways, him coming back the other night at SummerSlam, I saw somebody put up a little whatever of it, him coming in and all that. But okay, I popped for that, and I popped for him showing up at SmackDown. And here's the problem, though. It's his competitor, and I thought this from the beginning. As soon as I saw this guy, I knew that the WWE was going to push him and try and change and push, and they're never going to get anywhere for this guy. And you know why? It's Roman Reigns. And he may be technically good in the ring, although I really haven't seen that he does all that much. And he's got this shtick with being the family and all that stuff. Fine, fair enough, whatever. But he's the problem. Again, he's just another empty not bathing suit, but, wrestling trunks and whatever. And like half the people in the WWE, he's that guy from Game of Thrones that all the girls like. Everybody looks like that. Think of his fucking name. It'll pop into my head. He's been starring in other stuff. But enough already. I mean, everybody's trying to look like that guy, the one that was the husband of the blonde girl at the start, the Dothraki or whatever he was called. Jason Momoa, okay? Like, why does everybody in the WWE have to look like Jason Momoa? It used to be all kinds of different people. Anyways, so, of course, Roman Reigns looked like Jason Momoa, and they're trying to push that to see if they can get him over. But the more you push, the less over he's going to get. Or fans finally get fed up and they just clap to shut everybody up or something. I don't know. But when I look into his eyes, there's no predator there. I don't know what Roman Reigns is outside of kayfabe, but I suspect he's probably a pretty nice guy. But he's not a predator. He's not a guy. If I faced him back in my biker days, I'd have torn him limb from limb. And because I know what a predator looks like, because I've looked in the mirror and I had to survive being a predator, running around in strip clubs and all this other shit. Another guy that's like that, and he worked in strip clubs, is a bouncer's Kevin Nash. He's a predator. Look into his eyes sometimes. that's a predator. But Roman Reigns is not a predator, and no matter how hard they try to make him, a heel as a predator, if you compare that to Brock Lesnar, he can't wipe the feet or clean the boots, wrestling boots for Brock Lesnar, or a guy like Harley Race from the old days, Predator, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Predator. You know who I'm talking about. The Undertaker, Mark Callis, Kane. The guy that plays him, Glenn Jacobs. You can see the predatory look. Roman Reigns just doesn't have a predatory look. Whether people know that or not, because most people haven't lived a life like I did, driving truck, working at strip clubs, running around on a Harley, being a nutcase through the 70s, 80s, and early 90s before I finally said, I'm going to die quick. I got to stop all this shit, health-wise. And anyway, so I've seen a lot of predators in my time, faced them down, and I'm still walking and talking. So I know what a predator looks like. And I'm sorry, Roman Reigns is just not that. And they can't make him into a monster. It's a lot easier to make Brock Lesnar with no personality into a monster with somebody like Heyman yakking for him than it is for Roman Reigns being a non-predator. And no matter how hard Heyman tries, it ain't going to work. And, he's sometimes I watch him in interviews and he's just staring down or up. He doesn't look like he's mad or he's considering. He looks depressed, and that's another thing. It's like, I don't want to see a guy that's depressed. That's not wrestling. I mean, if you're depressed, you shouldn't be in a fucking wrestling ring. Now, I don't believe for a moment that Roman Reigns could be, he could be depressed in real life, but I don't believe for a moment that he is. He's just a bad actor. He doesn't act well. He's just not got it. No matter what Vince McMahon will tell you, or anybody that runs their place, I'm telling you, from a fan from 1969 on, 7 years old, big time wrestling, WWE, NWA, WCW, ECW, I watched them all. And the Attitude Era was one of my favorites. The 80s era, again, one of my favorites. I go with the idea of the Jim Cornette view of wrestling. Maybe not always the same with Jim because he does get stuck in the past. I think that's part of his problem with AEW. Oh, he's right. He's definitely right about a few of the performers there. But I find he's wrong on other ones. And, Tony Khan may not be the best booker, but the future is bright because now he's got a bunch of guys in there, like that Daniel Bryan guy, or Brian Daniels? Yeah, Brian Daniels, CM Punk. Who's that other guy? Adam Cole. Big Show, Big Paul White. People of that nature that are coming in are experienced behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So Tony's going to have a lot of people to draw on to run these matches and do the booking. So you're going to see it go up. As long as they don't get into, if it actually really happened, the Nash Hogan situation where they were running the offices from behind the door there. So we'll see where this heads. But I mean, I'm really enjoying AEW, what I can get of it online. I didn't have the $40 to watch their pay-per-view, but I got to see, small clips on the YouTube, and wow, oh yeah. Darby Allin and CM Punk is one for the ages. I mean, we're talking Ric Flair, Rick Steamboat quality matches here, or Savage and Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. I mean, these two can go. And Darby Allin, hello. You guys don't be looking past him because he's small or whatever. He more than makes up for being small. This guy would get right up in the face of the Undertaker, Kane, or Big Show, whoever. He's just one of those guys. Now there's a fucking predator, and there might be a little bit of crazy predator in that one. And if that's kayfabe, that makes me believe. I mean, he's doing a good job. Like, it's like, okay, is this guy really all there? Like, we know some of these wrestlers aren't. But, I mean, when he gets going in the ring, it's like, whoo. I mean, I'm thinking ECW and Attitude Era, wrestling in the 90s, 97, whatever, and on. So, I mean, all that stuff. So, I mean, hello, CM Punk, again, doesn't look like he lost anything from 7 years ago. He looked great out there. The two of them are tops in their games for telling a story in the ring. So, see, there's another guy that can help Tony Khan in the back. I mean, Darby Allin obviously knows how to set up and tell a story. There, his new buddy, Sting. There's another guy for the back offices that knows how to tell a story in a ring and all the rest of it. So, he's got some good people he can draw on, and hopefully he'll eventually get some other people that are good. Try to stay away from WWE people, Tony. Anyways, you do well to bring Jim Cornette for the back things, and Ric Flair and a couple other people along with new guys. Kind of mix up the whole thing. And you'll have a pretty deep fucking office there. Anyways, to get back to Roman Reigns, I don't know what they can do with this guy. He's just, they got to hide his eyes somehow. Like maybe turn him into a Kane-like character with a mask or something. Maybe they can have Kane come back and burn him in the face, and, he can be Kane 2.0 or something. I don't know. Anything's better than what he is right now. And hang on a second. I'm just going to pause, but you won't notice. I got to warm up my coffee in the micro. There, I'm back, even though you didn't really see me come and go. I reheated my coffee because I like my coffee piping hot. So, yeah, and listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on him, okay? Because, he does have ring presence. He can wrestle, at least on the level of, like, Hulk Hogan or better. He's probably better than Hogan, even Hogan in his best times, But he hasn't got Hogan's personality or command of the ring. And he's spectacular, or looks spectacular, to a crowd on TV or in the crowd live. But he doesn't have that like Hulk Hogan. So, but they've got to do something with him. And they've got to lose this. Fucking every wrestler looks like Jason Momoa. Like, give me a break. I know somebody out there is going to say, well, this guy don't look like Jason Momoa. It's the majority in the WWE for the last few years. Long hair, beards, short hair, beards, long hair, beards. Listen, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. My father had a beard. I used to have a beard. I had a goatee. Now I got whatever this is. Been there, done that. But, you got to have variety. Now, you can't all look like Jason Momoa wannabes or whatever. There's just too many of these guys. So, and everybody's dressed in black, and it's like, holy fuck, enough already with that. Anyway, so, there's a guy in AEW, and people are really going to hate on me for this one, but I don't like the guy. Now, I haven't met him outside of kayfabe, probably never will, but this is that Moxley guy. He's way overrated. No Predator. He plays, you can see he's playing the mean guy, like, that's not real. You want to see me when I was drinking and I get cross-eyed and want to, lay it to some. That's a different face, okay? And that's not one that you can make up. Stone Cold and other people were able to, put on the show and make it look good. Moxley's not good at it. And he's trying to play this tough guy that he's one of those guys I used to see in the bars that would walk up to one of us, drinking, and, he'd poke you in the chest and like, hey, tough guy, blah, 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 and then you break his jaw and he's on the ground with teeth all over the floor. One of those guys. That's what Moxley looks like and feels like to me. Now somebody's going to say, well, if you got in the ring when he kicked the shit out of you. Yeah, because he's a professional wrestler. But back when I was his age and he was my age and in a bar, that would have been a different story. But he tries too hard to play a tough guy, okay? And then, babyface to heel. He just doesn't have that right. So, again, though, he's a fantastic wrestler. Don't get me wrong there. He obviously knows what he's doing in the ring. The part he's playing, he's just not good at. So, he does know how to tell the story. It's just this story doesn't fit what he looks like and kind of how he carries himself, So he's like Roman Reigns. So, they both have possibilities. I don't know what they could do with Moxley. I don't like his look. I don't like his ring style. And I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. He's a good wrestler. I just don't like that style. You know what I see Moxley like? Is a guy, you put him out there kind of like a Harley race. you know, that he can get in there and brawl, but at the same time, you know, do these wicked wrestling moves that almost nobody else does. And I'm sure Moxley is more than capable of that and learning more and doing more of them. That's the kind of way you'd want to put Moxley, you know, just a regular pair of trunks, black boots, you know, maybe let him tape his wrist or his hands, whatever, and have him go in there. You know, don't say a whole lot. Just walk around the ring, you know, wait for your opponent to come in and have at him. And just stay steady at it like Harley Race. So there's Moxley. That's how I look at Moxley, okay? That I could see you could do that with him. And then that way there too, if he's doing these really cool wrestling moves like Harley used to do, you know, the guys that are bigger than Moxley, I mean, he can tie these guys into knots and it'll look right and it'll look correct. It'll look like, oh, fuck yeah, you're big and you can punch them, you know, through the ceiling. But if he gets a hold of you and ties your legs up or your arms or whatever, or some move that you can't even possibly counter, you know, that makes him on equal footing, if not better than the big guys. So there's where I go with Moxley in my mind, is something like that. Roman Reigns, I just can't figure out. You know, maybe he's better off, I don't know, staying home and collecting a paycheck. No, I don't mean that. But, yeah, they just, like I say, he's not a predator. He's no Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold, or any of those guys, Undertaker. I can think of, you know, all kinds of them. Scott Hall, predator, you know. Stone predator in his eyes at the time, but predator nevertheless. Yeah, so anyway, I will end this video on that note. I hope they can do something with them. I haven't watched a full WWE show back yet, just pinches here and there. And the whole thing with Brock Lesnar actually played well for me. Like, as an old fan, like, it worked, you know. Now, see, there's a guy that you would turn into a monster Harley Race if he could learn some moves, you know. But anyway, Monster Harley Race that's kind of like now Brawler Harley Race and good wrestling moves. That's why him and Flair's matches were so good, because they were both so excellent, and they both could brawl. And in real life, every wrestler in interviews will tell you back from those times that Harley Race was the toughest man they've ever come across. And I believe that for an absolute fact. So, all right. Well, listen, thanks for coming. So there's something non-political. And, please subscribe and share if you want to get more videos. And if you share, well, that helps, with the algorithms, and maybe more people will want to see it. And if you want to donate, there's a card that tells you where you can go after the video. And there's my links for different things that I got going on, different channels. I'm also on Rumble. And so you can go there. And it's the same as YouTube, but not censored. And so, yeah. Okay. You folks be lucky, be cool, be good, and if you can't be good at being bad. Later. Bye.